Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, the Alumni Advisory Board, staff, and faculty, and the 25,725 alumni, we warmly welcome all of our esteemed guests to the 2024 Alumni Awards. This is undoubtedly the pinnacle of our year when we take immense pride in reflecting on our alumni's achievements and profound impact on their respective communities. Whether their influence is felt here in the PD, across the nation, or as you'll hear tonight, beyond our borders, their contributions are invaluable. Tonight we gather to celebrate the remarkable achievements of a select few of our alumni. They're the very essence of this university, and their success stories serve as a beacon of inspiration for us all. Your alumni have been incredibly active this year, hosting over 15 live events in 8 different venues across 4 vibrant cities, with over 100,000 engagements on social media. Our Alumni Advisory Board is a testament to our commitment to fostering a strong sense of community and engagement among our alumni. As a glimpse into our exciting calendar, we have 6 alumni events spanning 3 different cities in the next 65 days. However, it's worth noting this is not entirely accurate, as the 6th city is our very first alumni travel experience commencing in Dublin, Ireland, and spanning 10 cities in that country. So it might be more fitting to say that we have alumni events in 12 different cities to conclude the spring season. These events are a great mix of fun, engagement, and recognition. In 2022, we began a tradition of recognizing our senior class by hosting Senior Toast, inviting them to join our alumni for their first official alumni event just before their commencements. Whether it's an oyster roast for our life members or homecoming mixing both students and alumni, our bonds with our alumni and university grow stronger daily. I extend a heartfelt invitation to each of you to attend any of our events and stay connected with us on our social media platforms for the latest news and updates. Your participation is not just welcome, it's crucial to the continued growth and success of our university and our alumni community. Now it's our opportunity to hear an update on the university. Please join me in welcoming the president of the university, Dr. Fred Carter, to the stage.
You know, I noted in the program it says presidential address. If you were expecting an address, the best I can give you is 4822 East Palmetto Street. What I really want to talk to you tonight about is what we are. And I'll keep my comments brief, but I do want you to understand that tonight's my 25th annual award event, Alumni Award event. And you know, in those 25 years, I've watched an amazing thing happen. The first few events I attended, I didn't know the honorees, I didn't know the alums. But as time went on, I discovered a certain sameness in the awards year after year. And those were the remarkable stories that the winners had to, the award recipients had to share with the audience. Those are the same stories I hear when I travel across the PD, and somebody will catch me outside a Piggly Wiggly in Latta and want to tell me about their experience at the university. And, you know, is Professor so-and-so still there? You know, I remember that night I got locked out of my mobile home across the street from the university, and he came over and helped me break in the window. The stories that were so powerful about connecting a very, very unique place with a very, very unique group of people. Not too long ago, a couple of months ago, I attended the inauguration program for one of my fellow presidents. And he spoke at length about redefining his college. And I was sitting on stage, and I looked across that audience, and I saw among many of the older alums, their eyes get wider and wider. Redefining your college. I'm not quite sure what statement that makes to the alums. Was it that Maybe you didn't get all you should have gotten, and the university needed to be something else. Well, let me tell you about Francis Marion. We're doing now the same thing we did when Doug Smith opened that university in 1970. We're addressing the same constituencies. We're dealing with the same outreach issues. We're dealing with the same struggles that Robert McNair told us we needed to take on when we first became a university. We're not redefining anything at Francis Marion. We never will. What we will do is celebrate what we are, class after class after class. We're proud of our skin, we own our traditions, and we're proud of the legacy that our alums leave year after year after year. And tonight, we're going to hear some more of those success stories. Thank you.
Our next speaker has the unenviable task of following Dr. Carter, but she's not only a friend of mine, but somebody I've served with on the board for all the way through COVID, which seemed like the dark times and dog years, but she's done a fantastic job as the president this year, and I think you're going to find her words uplifting as well. If you please help me welcome the president of your Alumni Advisory Board, E.G. Oakman-Black.
Good evening. It is going to be a challenge to follow Dr. Carter, but y'all just bear with me. So as Lee said, I am E.G. Oakman-Black. I am your Francis Marion Alumni Association president. I'm always excited to be here where we get the opportunity to shower kudos and praise on our outstanding alum, because if you ask me, my fellow alum at Francis Marion are the best in the world. And so I love the Alumni Awards have come to be one of my most favorite events because we get this opportunity. I want to take a moment, if my fellow board members will just stand for a quick second. I know they're over here in the corner, maybe a little hard to see. You probably saw a lot of us standing and talking as you all were coming in. Thank you. And one of our board members is being recognized tonight as well. The reason why I want to recognize them is they serve tirelessly and with full commitment to give back to our university through our alum. And we do this, as you heard Lee mention, all the great events that the Alumni Association has planned. And what we want to do tonight is invite you all to be a part of those events, invite you all to be a part of our alumni community. You graduated from Francis Marion, you earned that degree. You stand in a very small circle of 25,000. That is really small when you think about it, of 25,000 alum who carry that paper. That means the world to you. That means the world to us. So it is my personal invitation to invite you back to the campus if it's been a while. Travel down 327 and take a look at that beautiful ecology center. Go to the main campus and see all the beautiful buildings and waterfalls that Dr. Carter has had installed. Come back downtown. We have this beautiful performing arts center, but there's also an amazing gallery just a few blocks away. There's a nursing building. There's the building that we took over from the old post office. But there's a million other ways in which you are invited back. When you see that we're hosting events, those events are not for us or them, they're for y'all, the alum. So if you don't have the time to take a trip back on campus, make the time to come to one of our events. When you walk out tonight into the main hall and you're mingling and talking, reach out to one of the board members. Ask them about how you can become a member through annual support or through lifetime support. All of that goes back to future Francis Marion alum. But in the meantime, I want to congratulate all of the awardees tonight. And I want to thank you all for always supporting Francis Marion, be it whether you're an alum yourself or the supporter of an alum. Thank you for loving on our community. Thank you for always being a support, and thank you for being here tonight.
My name is Tyler Pate, and I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. Originally from Coward, South Carolina. I grew up with my mom, my dad, and my older brother. They were a huge factor in going to school and really just pursuing your passion. I think throughout my whole career is just hearing my mom say, you gotta stick to this, you gotta believe in yourself and really believe in the work that you make. And that was a huge influence. I got the dream job. I get to create for a living. That's always been my hobby. That's what I've done growing up and through school is I just want to draw. I want to create things. To do that for a living, I can't ask for much more. So I now work as an art director for Nickelodeon, specifically the consumer products team, where we get to develop all the cool things that you see in retail. So things from shirts to bedspreads to toothbrushes, all the things you buy in the store, our team gets to create. And we're doing that for some of the biggest IPs like SpongeBob, Ninja Turtles, all these fun shows that I grew up with. I'm now getting to create some assets for them, and it's been a dream. FMU showed me that if you want something, you have to put in the effort. Here's enough resources, but you're gonna have to run with this. And for me, I've been running ever since. I love the fact of you get to make it what you want, and Francis Marion, they gave me an opportunity to make it what I wanted. I'd love to thank my mom, my dad, my brother, of course, the professors that allowed me to just create and encourage me to create outside of class. They instilled not only that you've got to love this, but you got to work. And I think I got a lot of that work ethic from not only my dad, but I got it from those professors. You know, it's a special moment to know that a school from Florence, South Carolina is my start. I'm proud of that.
Tyler couldn't join us tonight. He's on the West Coast. He had a work commitment, couldn't fly in, but accepting on his behalf is his brother, Jay. If you could please welcome Jay up to the stage.
I'm a native South Carolinian, was born in nearby Marion, South Carolina, and have lived in this area for a large portion of my life. I graduated from Latta High School and came to Francis Marion in the fall of 1985 to pursue a bachelor's degree in health physics, and graduated in 1989 with that. Many of the professors that were here during that time took a special interest in me. I was a small town boy. Graduated from a high school that was about 1/10 the size of Francis Marion, and so coming here was a step up to begin with. I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree. You know, you observe your professors and how they conduct themselves, and you think, I want to emulate that. You know, the respect I have for them is the respect I want others to have for me. Teach here and just enjoy it. I've always enjoyed teaching, and so I've really found my niche, and I like to bring a lot of my workplace experience into the classroom. I spend a large portion of my time not just teaching facts and figures to students, but also talking to them about life, what it means to be a professional, how to get into a career, what does it mean to establish some sort of discipline in life. Winning this award is a very humbling experience. I know that there are many alumni out there that are just as deserving or more deserving of this award, so I don't look at it as something that I especially deserve. There are so many people to thank, there's no way to possibly name them all. Obviously my family, my church family is very important to me. But as I look back on life, with 30 or 40 years of hindsight, now you look back and you see a path that's been carved out by the Lord, and you realize these things don't happen by accident. And so, most grateful to the Lord for all He's done to bless me.
Please welcome to the stage Dr. Philip Fulmer.
Born and raised in New Jersey, as is my entire family, and still live here. I was at Francis Marion from 1980, graduated in December of 1983. My major was business. I started with Mannheim Automobile Auctions just a couple months after I graduated from Francis Marion. Retired after almost 38 years, and could not have picked a better career. Francis Marion helped me in so many ways to prepare myself for my career. I learned an awful lot, not just for the specific class, but for the postgraduate world. The person that had the most impact on me, and even to this day does, was Coach Charlotte Griffin. I learned so much from Coach, not just what he said, but specifically watching Coach and how he handled himself, as he does to this day, with dignity and respect. Without Coach Griffin, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. And I feel confident in saying that the vast majority of people who played and know Coach Griffin feel the way I do. I have no doubt about that. I can't thank my parents enough. I feel like God gave me the best parents in the world. I also thank my brother and sister, mainly for the examples that they've set, how successful they've been, how hard they have worked. And I also have a great set of friends, including some of the guys I played baseball with at Francis Marion. I'm very honored and humbled to win this award. I had no idea it was coming. Everybody from the guys I played baseball with, to the people I went to school with, to the faculty and staff, and even the people I ran into at Florence, went out of their way to make me feel comfortable. And that's something I'll never forget. And that's why I feel so strongly about Francis Marion to this day.
So one of the things I do whenever I contact these honorees is I ask them to give me a list of all the people they want to send invitations to. John's list had one name on it, and that was Coach Griffin. Coach Griffin, thanks for being here tonight. I know it's very important to have John, for you to be here as well. John, come on up and get your award.
So I'm a rheumatologist. I did internal medicine, and then now I do rheumatology, which is lupus, rheumatoid, sort of autoimmune conditions. I started at Francis Marion in 1985 and graduated in 1989. I really liked it. I thought it was a great place. I think just because of the quality of the education, Francis Marion also has a very good reputation with getting into the medical field. So it's got a good association both at MUSC and up in Columbia with USC. My wife one day decided, hey, we need to go do a mission trip. Started going down to Belize to do some mission work and set up this big program. So back in 2012 or 13, they started doing some medical trip. And next thing I know, we had a stack of folks, and I've been going every 3 months since 2016. And so we've got a pretty good group of autoimmune folks that I see, so people with rheumatoid and lupus, and then I see regular stuff from small kids to old people. I do a lot with Boy Scouts, so I'm a Boy Scout leader, which is kind of fun because I like backpacking and canoeing and kayaking, and so that's what we do, is we go and take them and do all these fun things. We've taken them scuba diving and things. People I would want to thank, the big ones, is my parents, because my mom and my dad kicked my behind to make me do all this stuff. And then my wife especially also, because she puts up with me. I'm proud of having been at Francis Marion. Having that alumni association around just helps build it so that more people can benefit from the folks that have already been there and sort of laid a little groundwork out, and then that allows more people to sit there and accomplish their dreams and realize they can actually do something.
Please welcome Dr. Harold Doherty.
I'm from Atlanta. My family consists of my husband, and we will be married 28 years in June. I also have a sister, Linda, who's a FMU alum as well. I have a son, Craig, and he's also an FMU alum. Craig and I both graduated together in 1994, him with his bachelor's and myself with my master's at that time. I have two stepsons, Daniel and Tim. Tim is married to Crystal, who is also an FMU alum, and I have 6 grandchildren, and I also have a great-grandson. I was what we call a non-traditional student. Later on, when I married my husband, he said to me, "What have you always wanted to do?" And what I've always wanted to do is be a teacher. Francis Marion had a program that they were advertising people who were over 25, and so we decided that I would quit my job at the insurance company and begin classes. I liked school, so we decided to continue, and I went through Francis Marion and got my master's degree. In 2003, Francis Marion offered me a position here, and I was teaching teachers how to work with students with disabilities in the graduate program. That was just a really good experience. My husband and I have been coming out here to Francis Marion basketball games and baseball games for years. One thing that we liked about it is the coach and the players are right here, and we're not that far from them. So sometimes we can hear what the coach is saying to the players, so it's kind of like you're right in on the action. But this school means the world to me. I would never be where I am now if it didn't exist. Any opportunity that I have to speak of Francis Marion, I look forward to it because this is my school and I'm very proud of it. I want to tell whoever will listen about it.
The incomparable Dr. Shirley Bousman. I've asked Shirley to say a few words for us tonight.
Before I speak, and sometimes when you give a microphone to a teacher or a politician, you really don't know what's going to happen. But my granddaughter, Avery, gave me this picture tonight, and I wanted to show it to everybody because I thought it was really unique. She somehow knew that I was going to have on blue shoes and a blue jacket, and she also gave me a microphone. So I don't know how she knew it, but she can see the future, I guess. Many in the audience are alums, and we all have a story to tell about Francis Marion, our journey there. So I would like to share mine tonight. It began a few months after I married my husband, Bert, in 1986. He was working at DuPont, and I was working as a bookkeeper at an insurance company. One day, as you saw in the video, Bert said to me, "What have you always wanted to do when you grow up?" Well, obviously I was grown up, but still wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I told him that I'd always felt like one day I would become a teacher. So he said, "Well, how can we make that happen?" So what we did, we made an appointment with Dr. Kenneth Dye. He was the director of the Office of Guidance and Placement at Francis Marion at that time. And as a result of that meeting, Bert and I enrolled in an evening psychology course in the spring of 1988. We both completed the course, doing quite well, and at that point we decided that I would quit my job and enroll in 2 courses each summer session. That way I could get 12 hours done in a summer, so that was a pretty good deal back then. But before I took my summer courses, I knew that I needed to improve my vocabulary. So I ordered this program called Word Power, and I wanted to see if that thing still existed, and it does. You can actually get it on Amazon for $29.95. It consisted of several cassette tapes, and I'm sure my grandchildren don't even know what a cassette tape is, but it was helpful to me at that time. I listened to the tape, and the instructor had different ways to learn new words, sometimes by looking at word origins, sometimes how you separate words into syllables for you to be able to pronounce them. So that was how I got myself ready to take courses at Francis Marion. Now, I came from a small school, Atlanta High School. There were only 19 people in my graduating class. So Francis Marion intimidated me. I was overwhelmed with the size of Francis Marion. One of my first courses was English 101 with Dr. Huggins. And of course, I was the oldest person in the class because I'm what you call a non-traditional student. The professor at that time said to all of us in the class, if you make an A in my class, you can call me by my first name. Well, I knew I was closer to his age than the student's age, so I thought, I need to make an A so I can call him Tony. I actually did make an A in the class, but I don't recall that I ever called him Tony. Being out of school for 18 years, I wasn't in the habit of writing essays, so I spent a lot of time in the writing center. Philip Gardner and his assistants were extremely helpful in providing suggestions to improve my papers. The aforementioned vocabulary cassettes came in handy in my writing course. For example, my husband Bert likes to hike, and so we went to the mountains and we were hiking up the mountain and then we were hiking back down the mountain. When you go down a mountain, there's switchbacks. So you go down here, you go down a little bit, and you come back and you go down. Well, I got tired of that. I just thought, this is taking too long. So I decided I was going to go straight down. Not a good idea. When I finally got to the bottom of the trail, I saw my husband, and I used the word ebullient when I wrote my paper about it. And if you don't know what ebullient means, it means bubbling over with happiness. So when I saw him, I was feeling very happy to see him. So that was one word that I got from that program that was called Word Power. During the fall of 1988, I struggled with a political science course. Dr. Carter wasn't there yet, so this is before his time. And also, I was a freshman, and at that time, they sent home grades to freshmen in the middle of the semester, midterm. So when I got my grades, I decided that I needed to go see the professor of my political science course because I was not doing real well. So I made an appointment with the professor, and when we were talking, he said, "Can I see that report you have?" And he looked at it, and I had 4 A's and 1 C, and guess whose course that C was in? It was his course. So he said, "It's going to be really important for you to do well on your final exam." And so we talked a little bit about the course, and the final exam ended up being list and explain the causes of the Civil War. I don't remember exactly how many there were, but I learned all of them because I wanted to make sure that I was going to do well on that exam. As it turned out, I studied along, and then the night before the exam I studied, and then someone had told me at one time, if you get up early in the morning and what you go over, it'll be fresh in your mind, so when you get to take a test, you'll do better. So I got up at, 4 o'clock in the morning or something to study for that exam. And as it turned out, I did well and earned an A in that course, so I got that one done. One thing that I learned from that experience, though, and that I tried to share with other students, is that if you have difficulty in a course, make an appointment to speak with your professor. Professors always want their students to perform well and will often make suggestions on strategies for the course. And sometimes it's just students need to learn how to answer a discussion question. They just need to know how to express themselves in the right way. In the fall of 1989, my son Craig joined me at Francis Marion. We took some of the same courses, but not at the same time. One course was cultural geography, and that was taught by Dr. Harlan Hawkins, which we both really enjoyed his class. I had taken the course a semester prior to Craig, so I shared my notes with him, which he shared with his buddies, and they teased him about how extensive his mother's notes were. They said to him, "Your mother writes down every word the professor says." As it turned out later on that we also took statistics, and we had the same professor during the same semester. Craig was in the regular class, and I was in the honors section because I had been accepted in the honors program, which was directed at that time by Dr. Dwayne Myers. And Dr. Myers and Dr. Thayer both were very instrumental in helping me find my way to take courses that I needed for the honors program that also fit into my degree. But Craig was a tremendous help to me whenever we were taking this statistics course, and you'll find that statistics is not my area. I graduated in 1991 with a bachelor's degree in elementary education with college honors, and I taught second grade as a substitute for a teacher out on medical leave at St. John's Elementary in Darlington. While I was there, I had a student who had difficulty with spelling. For the spelling test, she would write down random letters when I'd call out the spelling word, and later on when I checked her test, the letters had nothing to do with the words I was calling out. So, of course, I referred her to guidance, and I think she was tested for learning disabilities. But at that time, I decided that I needed to learn more about what kind of difficulty students had in school so that I could help them. Therefore, I began my master's program at Francis Marion while working in Dr. Dye's office, where I was assisting students with part-time employment and also worked as a graduate assistant. Dr. Stephen Taylor and Dr. Thomas Sawyer were the main professors in my graduate program, and they taught me how to identify areas of concern and provide instructional strategies to help students with learning differences and those with learning disabilities. In 1994, my son Craig and I graduated together. Craig received his bachelor's degree in accounting, and I received my master's in education. Craig went to work in Columbia, and I became a teacher of students with disabilities at West Florence High School. While teaching at West Florence, my husband, again, remember he said, "What did you always want to do?" Now he says, "How can you increase your earning capacity?" Well, I told him at that time a teacher's salary was based on experience and your degree. Well, I didn't have a lot of experience, so we talked about how I could further my education. So I applied to the PhD program at the University of South Carolina. I was not accepted. I didn't have 5 years of experience, and of course, I didn't give up. I kept trying once I had my 5 years, and I applied again, and I finally did receive exception. While I was at USC, there was a course I struggled with, and you're going to know what it was because it's also a statistics class. It was called, and I actually still have my syllabus from that course, so that tells you something, right? It was called Non-Parametric Statistics, and I know Philip knows exactly what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what that is, it's a second-level statistics course in reduced assumption methods for investigating relationship among variables. Emphasis is placed on conceptual understanding of general principles, application to real research problems, and interpretation of results. Well, I also have my exam from there. And I think I had probably an A going into that exam. But when I took that exam, I did not feel real good about that exam. I remember when I was at Francis Marion, when we were talking about students with learning disabilities, how sometimes they could look at a page and the words or numbers were all jumbled up and they just really couldn't make any sense out of it. Well, I knew what that felt like when I got that exam. I looked at that exam and I thought, I do not know what I'm going to do with this. And I studied it probably 15 or 20 minutes. And then I calmed down and I got busy working on it. And I submitted it, but I didn't feel like I did real well on it. Well, the professor sent me my final exam. I made a 70 on this exam. I didn't make 70s very often, so I was not happy about that. But I did end up with my very first B+ in that course. But at that time, I was glad to get it so I could graduate in December and continue teaching at West Florence. Over the next few years, I applied to Francis Marion for almost every position they advertised in the School of Education. I wanted to go back to Francis Marion to teach. In 2003, Dr. Falkenberry became the Dean of the School of Education, and I was finally considered for a teaching position. Hallelujah, right? I became a School of Education faculty member in the fall of 2003, and then later on I was appointed the coordinator of graduate studies. In 2012, Dr. Falkenberry announced that he was retiring due to medical issues. It was then that I decided to put my name in the pot for the dean position. Fortunately, the School of Education faculty welcomed me as their dean in July of 2013. During my 4 years as dean, from 2013 to 2017, we had fun. We worked hard, but we had fun. We decorated golf carts and dressed up as Dr. Seuss characters and the Wizard of Oz characters. We even had a tornado on our golf cart. We also dressed up for our favorite book at Halloween, and then one time we dressed up as characters from the movie Grease. We really, like I said, we worked hard, but we also found time to have fun because we all got along well with each other. Since retirement, Bert and I have enjoyed reading, traveling, bicycling, attending sporting events, and spending time with family and friends. We are also looking forward to the alumni trip that Lee spoke about. We're going to Ireland in May. In closing, I'd like to tell you that my husband and I are students again. I tell you, we got started with us taking an undergrad course in psychology at night. We're now in an evening course called American Ghost Stories with Dr. Becky Flanagan. It's true that you're never too old to learn, and we intend to continue to do just that. I'd like to thank again my family, friends, former faculty and staff at West Florence and Francis Marion, alumni board members, past president board members, the Board of Trustees, Lee, Warren, President and Mrs. Carter. I am truly honored. Thank you.
Oh, you did great. What are you talking about? We've got the wrong things. I can tell you that she was a non-traditional student, like she said, but she's a non-traditional human being as well. It's been an absolute pleasure working around you. What you may not know is that she was a past board member, a past president of the alumni board, and it might not surprise you that. It might not surprise you that in the past president's council, which is made up of all former presidents of the alumni board, she has been selected for the last 4 years to be the representative back to the board to keep us in line as well. And I can tell you that she rolls up her sleeves and works just as hard as a freshman board member on that board, and we're all lucky to have her, and the alumni are lucky to have her in that position as well. Thank you so much, Shirley. What a wonderful evening. I promised you stories of alumni making a difference in the lives of others, and I think you will agree that these honorees will represent us well. I often get asked, what makes a good alumni, or what can I do for the university? Well, in a word, engage. Engage by coming to alumni events. Engage by coming to athletic events. Engage by encouraging those making a decision on where to further their education to visit our campus and give us a chance. Engage by displaying your Patriot pride with a t-shirt or a bumper sticker, or perhaps becoming a life member. Or how about engage by donating to the Education Foundation of a university whose Board of Trustees just voted today to freeze the tuition for the 7th year in a row. Another big round of applause for that. You can be proud of your university, and not just because it's a great value, but because it's a great university. Lastly, engage by following us on social media, where you will find nominations to the Alumni Board for next year and links to all of our upcoming events. I thank you for joining us tonight to honor these alumni, but I remind you that there's tens of thousands more alumni adding value to their communities every day. Until we meet again, Patriots, I'll see you soon. There's a reception in the lobby. Thank you so much.